Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Mission Snapshot. As always, we are so grateful that you have taken this time to join with us as we explore areas around the world and get stories from the mission field. And today we have stories that are Bible worker stories because Christina's here with us. And I wanted to let you know that we will be popping resources down below. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave those down below as well, and we will connect with you there. So, Christina,
Yes.
where are we going today for our Bible worker stories?
Today we are going to the Andaman and the Nicobar Island section.
Wow, okay.
Which is a group of islands, 572 islands out in the Bay of Bengal. It's not really close to India at all. It's actually 800 miles off the coast of India. They're closer to the Myanmar, Thailand side, but they're also 400 miles from there. So I wouldn't say that's very close either. They're way out there.
They're way out there. So are all the islands inhabited?
No, only about 37 of them are actually inhabited.
Okay.
So not very many.
No.
Actually, another interesting thing about these islands is they're home to possibly 4 of the estimated 100 uncontacted people groups in our world.
Wow. Yeah, so I know that normally on this show we talk about the unreached.
Right.
But this is beyond unreached. So would you share with our viewers what uncontacted means?
Yes. Uncontacted is these people don't want any contact from humans from other places around the world.
Okay.
They are not visited. They live their own lives and do their own.
Right. So in this, it's hard to think of in this interconnected world that we have, that there are people groups who truly have no contact with anyone outside of their territory. So there's no internet, there's no email, there are no phones, there's nothing that connects them. And 4 of those groups live in this island nation.
Right. It's very hard for us to understand. And I think in a way it's also to protect them because, we could easily take them diseases and stuff that their bodies wouldn't know how to even handle.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. But these are 4 groups of people that need the gospel as much as anyone else. And I know that there are plans around, in other groups who are trying to figure out how do we get to these uncontacted people in a responsible way.
Right.
In order to share the gospel with them. But the stories we have today are not from those area, but that's interesting to know about what that island nation is all about. Okay.
Okay, so we are talking, the stories I'm going to share today are actually from the perspective of the people that have been helped by our Bible workers, not from the Bible workers themselves.
Okay, because normally when we're here on the show, we're talking about, brother so-and-so or sister so-and-so and what they are doing. But these are from the perspective of the people who are helped. Yes. And so we're not going to hear a lot about the Bible workers as much as the perspective of the people.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so my first story is about Mr. Suresh.
Okay.
And he was in a motorbike accident.
Okay.
A pretty serious one. His leg was broken pretty bad where he had to spend 40 days in the hospital.
Wow, that's a long time.
It is a long time. But during that time, the Bible worker and actually one of the supervisors visited him.
Wow.
And they got to pray with him there, but they also he was there so long that they developed a relationship with him.
Right.
That carried over to when he went home.
Right.
And so they were able to share Bible promises with him, more about Jesus, and he is really excited about what he's learning.
Oh, amen.
So we want to keep him in prayer because he hasn't quite made a decision, but he's wanting, we're hoping that he will soon make a decision to, come to church when he's able, but fully commit his life to Christ.
Okay. All right, our next story.
Our next story is about Mrs. Pinky. And she recently got married and soon after that became pregnant.
That's good.
Yes, she's very excited because having children means a lot to them.
Yes, it does.
And so, but sadly, during her 7th month of pregnancy, she had a miscarriage.
Oh, no.
So it took all this excitement and stuff and just, now she's devastated.
Wow, yeah.
She's very, very sad and the whole family is really really sad.
Yeah.
So, but during this grieving time she was having, the Bible worker came to her home and she visited with her. So naturally, she shared this pain she's suffering with the Bible worker, and the Bible worker was able to encourage her, but also tell him about how much Jesus cares about her.
Right.
And wants her to be happy. They were able to share and pray with her. And this developed a relationship, so it became a routine visit, contact for the Bible worker. And then a few months, I'm not sure how long, but a little while later, the Bible worker showed up, and Miss Pinky is now happy. She has a smile on her face that I don't think the Bible worker's seen in a while.
Right.
And she shares that she is expecting a baby again.
Wow.
Very happy. The family's excited. Actually, the mother-in-law is so excited. She went to the Adventist church to thank God there.
Wow.
And now the husband and Mrs. Pinky and the mother-in-law are all attending church.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That really is amazing, because mothers-in-law in general, I'm just speaking generally broad brush, are not always as supportive of their daughters-in-law. Because when a woman gets married, she goes into her husband's family. And for this mother-in-law to have caught something from the Bible worker that brought her hope and joy as well, so that the whole family can come together and worship Jesus, that's amazing. Just that portion, without the whole other story of being able to get pregnant again.
Right.
Yeah. And one thing you mentioned, and I was thinking about this in the first story that you told, is that the Bible workers are going through on regularly out of habit. So like in the case of Mr. Suresh, who had the broken leg, the Bible worker was already there.
Right.
Visiting. It was a habit to go there and visit, and that's where he met Mr. Suresh. And now this Bible worker is going door to door to door, and that's how she met Mrs. Pinky. So God is directing their steps as they're going.
Absolutely.
And making those connections, and it's the habits of the Bible workers that are so important to helping God be able to guide them to the right people at the right time.
Exactly. God's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, who's next?
Okay, our next story is about Mrs. Krishna.
Okay.
And she's an older lady, 58, I was told.
Yeah.
So that's not old to some, but anyway.
Yeah.
She was struggling with stress because she has two boys, and they finished high school, but they didn't do anything with their lives. So that really made her sad.
Yeah.
They weren't finding jobs. They weren't continuing their education. They're just doing a lot of goofing off. And not only did this mother have this concern about her children, but she also had this pain in the side of her head that she couldn't figure out what was causing it. No one could figure it out. So I was just sharing that I hate headaches.
Yeah.
Headaches are awful.
They
but
are
to have
awful.
one all the time is very sad.
It is.
And so this family is a very strict Hindu family. So she went, and one of the Hindu pujaris came to her house, actually, and told her that she had evil spirits in her home, and that they needed to pay him money to be able to come in and do these rituals to cleanse her home.
Wow. And I'm sure that was money she didn't have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that left her feeling not any better.
No.
But you know, like we were saying, God's timing is perfect. So it possibly could have happened that same day or really close to that day that the Bible worker came to visit her.
Wow.
So the Bible worker tells her, no, we'll just pray. You know, tell her about the real God that cares. And she said when the Bible worker prayed, she just began to feel peace.
Oh.
And she began to feel happy in her home, like it was okay, you know? And so this, again, began a regular visit, contact for the Bible workers. And within a month, her oldest son had a job.
Wow.
Her pain in her head was gone.
Wow.
And at least her oldest son and her are attending church.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That's really amazing. And we have had Bible worker stories before where the person who's helped has wanted to pay the Bible worker because that's what they're used to in their system of worship, where someone from the temple will come and say, I'll help you, but I need money. But the Bible workers don't take that money. They don't charge anyone for sharing the gospel
Right.
with them. And that is something that people don't understand, and it catches their attention that someone would be so generous to help without requiring money to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it really speaks about the love of God,
Right.
and how he's different than the other gods.
Right,
that
exactly.
they worship.
Exactly.
So my next story is Mr. Anigra.
It's okay. Don't worry.
Anyway, he's an older man, and he became paralyzed. The story didn't tell me. They didn't tell me the why. I tried to find out, but anyway, it didn't work out. But he all of a sudden had to spend most of his time in bed.
Wow.
And he became quite a burden for his family.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the help that we have with like home health or
Right.
medical equipment and stuff to make these tasks easier for them.
Right. They don't even have size in their homes many times for additional equipment that would be able to help. So they're pretty much on their own.
Yes. But the Bible worker again crossed paths with this man came to knock on the door, visit
Right.
him, learned about the situation, and began to encourage and pray and teach, and this went on, and I'm not sure how long, but after a while after that, he had this thought that he could walk. I mean, no
Wow.
one was there encouraging him to walk or talking about him trying or anything.
Wow.
He just felt like he had this thought that said he could walk one day.
Wow.
And so he decided to try, and no one else is there. And he gets up and he does walk.
Wow, amen.
This shocks everyone.
Of course.
And his family is so surprised.
Wow.
And so grateful.
Yeah.
And the Bible worker obviously tells them to give credit to God, and
Right.
that he healed them and answered their prayers.
Right.
And so now, they are learning more about God and
That's
excited
amazing.
about that.
It reminds me of the story of the man at Bethesda, where Jesus came and said, "Get up, walk, take your bed, and go home." And the man somehow knew that that's what he should do, and he got up and went up praising God. And so I would be curious, and someday in heaven, hopefully we can find out, like, what was it? Did the man feel something, or did an angel
Right.
encourage him to stand up? But his faith in the God that he was learning about helped him to get up out of that bed.
It's
Yeah.
an exciting story.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, my last story is about Mrs. Rizpah. And she's also pregnant and excited about having a baby soon.
Yeah.
But then on one of her her doctor's appointments,
Yeah.
she got some really sad news. The doctor said there was something wrong with the baby and didn't give her a good prognosis that the baby would live.
Oh, wow.
They really felt the baby wouldn't make it.
Wow.
So this left her feeling very heartbroken
course.
and concerned and sad. And, well, again, as we've mentioned, the timing is perfect, and God sends a Bible worker to meet this lady.
Wow.
To, like I've said, encourage her and share with her. And, again, this developed a regular contact.
Right.
And then a few months later, she delivers a healthy baby.
Wow.
Yes. So God healed the baby in her womb.
Wow.
And they're attending church now.
That's amazing. That really is that God helped before the baby was born.
Yes.
And that spoke a lot to that mom who had nowhere else to go for help.
Right.
And I've loved hearing how God has placed the Bible workers where they need to be. And I was thinking while you were sharing that this is something we can do too.
Yes.
That we may not be a professional Bible worker, but every day we can pray that God would put us in the path of someone who needs to hear about Jesus. And he can do the same thing in our lives as he's doing with the Bible workers.
Yeah, and we just have no idea how we could change someone's life.
Right.
I mean, big ways.
Yeah.
Just with sharing a Bible promise and a prayer or something simple.
Right. It's because many of the Bible workers started out with, "Let me pray for you."
Yes.
And then it turned into something else. Relationships were developed, and God moved mightily in these lives. So these are encouraging and inspiring and convicting stories. So I thank you. I know, aren't they? They always are. And if you've been impressed with the Bible workers and the way that they are consistently letting God use them and move them throughout the day to the various places they need to go, we're going to drop a link down below for a direct donation page where you can learn more about the Bible workers and share financially if that's something that you would like to do. So thank you, Christina, for bringing these stories. It's fun to hear the stories from a different perspective, from the people who have actually been blessed by God and how they have responded to his blessing. Yes. And so I really appreciate you sharing that. And if you would like to know more about Jesus for Asia and the projects that we have over 60 projects, from the Bible workers to children's schools, for helping widows, for clinics, for centers of influence. We invite you to go to jesusforasia.org and check out the projects that are there. And we also ask for your prayer for these projects, because we talk about prayer a lot with the Bible workers and how important it is. So we know that prayer works, and we ask you to join with us in praying for these projects as well. If you're watching this on YouTube for the first time, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. If you're watching this on Facebook, we ask you to click and like our page. We want you to be able to know when we're going live with our future programs, because we'd love to have you join us as we hear inspiring stories of how God is using others to help people. So we thank you. We'll see you again next time. This has been your Mission Snapshot.